Yeah, I think everyone's Weezer ranking though starts at like Blue Album, Pinkerton, Maladroit, and then the rest they just have a tier that's just called the rest of Weezer, and everything is just
Yeah.
jammed in there.
Like I've heard good things about the White Album. I've heard good things about Everything Will Be All Right in the End, which I did listen to when it came out. But like I was about to put out like an Instagram poll or just like really start talking to folks. Like, when did Weezer get bad? And I thinking about it, it's not like there's really no like I don't think there's a true point. I mean, there probably is, but I think for me, Weezer got bad after I turned 18. It's just
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
cool. I weathered through Ratitude, and I still stand by the Red Album. But I think once Ratitude and Hurley hit, I was out.
Man, Hurley is a not a good record.
It's got Memories.
Oh,
Which
I like
stand
that
by.
one. That's the Jackass one.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Jackass guys on it. But after that, like, could not. I heard Black Album, White Album. I heard. No, I haven't heard them, but I've heard like, oh man, it's Weezer's return to form. Not touching it.
They've had like four quote unquote returns to form at this point. I feel like every album they're like, oh, we're finally doing the Blue Album again. You listen to it and you're like, no.
You can definitely hear modern day Weezer start to form on like I said, Island in the Sun or Beverly Hills, where it's just like cheesy and not great. And you go back and you listen to like the Blue Album and Pinkerton, you're like, oh, this is truly a tortured weirdo, and the songwriting is incredible. And somehow between
He's like Chance the Rapper. If you take the torture out of the artist, there's a chance they'll just become comfortable and make bad music.
Drake.
Yeah. I don't know what Drake did.
Drake's just always been comfortable. He was
Oh
an
yeah.
actor in Toronto.
I was like, was there a tortured Drake album?
He tries to come. He's tortured that the age of consent is so high.
Oh.
That's pretty much it. Now we all know where I stand. I'm glad that I don't miss the beef. No, I'm glad. I'm trying to figure
That's the new Arby slogan. We miss the beef.
Bring back the beef.
I wish there were still songs coming out rapid fire and it was just like mean hook after mean hook, but it was kind of exhausting to keep up with after a while.
You didn't have to keep up with the beef to know that we got 4 Fire Kendrick Lamar songs in a week, and that was as much as we've gotten in a couple of years. So we were just really happy. He could feud with Malala, and I'd listen to his songs. I don't care. I hope he does. I'd like to hear that song.
Speaking of feuding with Malala, welcome to Radish, episode 259.
Malala,
the Show and Tell podcast.
Called out.
You the good stuff and only the good stuff every week, including the only unjustified beef with Malala. Justified? I don't know.
She's had it too good for too long.
Yeah,
she's got the new Arby slogan: unjustified beef.
Arby's.
I think she's about to win a Tony. So.
Oh no! Really?
Yeah.
I didn't mean no, but kind of.
Have y'all not
she
heard
wrote
about
a musical?
Snuff? She produced a musical.
Okay.
Which, how bad? Okay, I'm going to give you the details. Do you want worse to bad or bad to worse?
Does Lin-Manuel Miranda involved in it?
Close.
Okay.
Oh, bad. Let's go bad to worse. Let's start at the least bad and go to the worst bad.
It's okay. I'm going to go bad, worst, worst.
Okay.
Bad. The musical is called Suffs.
Suffs?
Suffs.
That's kind of hard to say, but okay.
Yeah. That's bad.
Worse. She's producing it alongside Hillary Clinton.
Oh.
It gets worse than that. That one hurt. That one hurt a little bit.
Okay, given those two, do you want to guess what Suffs is short for?
Insufferable.
No. Close. No. Shouldn't say that, but no.
Oh, was it suffragettes?
It is.
Oh. Hey, I'm all for the suffragettes, but I don't want to see a musical produced by Hillary Clinton about the suffragettes.
Why is it called It's called Suffs.
Acting kind of suffs.
Yeah.
I
A
think
millennial
It's just
will
like
find it.
for many years of my life, I sat in awe of the wonders of Broadway and like, wow, there's some really great stuff. I wish it were more accessible.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go see a Broadway musical. But as a avid watcher of the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day Parade and the
how
Today
often
Show,
do you watch it?
yeah, every year.
Most of us, it's like a once a year thing. Are you taping it and throwing it on Saturdays?
I watch it on both Macy's Day and Thanksgiving Day, and Macy's is every day.
It's all inside.
And I'm just all I see from like Broadway is just like remakes and just like we've adapted this beloved movie into a musical. We didn't have to.
There's a third category of Broadway musical, which is a musical entirely of an artist who should not be in a musical, like the Neil Diamond musical they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Green Day
It's like-
musical.
The Green Day
It's like-
one.
Jukebox musical. It's a musical made of a movie, and musicals that are like, this is questionable content, like Dear Evan Hansen. Like, how did this get greenlit and get so successful?
I think I like the idea of a Hillary Clinton musical. It's about girl power, and who better to produce that than someone who's ordered two of the or several of the highest political assassinations in our country's history.
I wonder if the touring cast stops in Cedar Rapids.
Was she from there?
No. The classic Vine. I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
Cedar Rapids.
There is apparently a musical going on adapting Death Becomes Her, though, which I think that's a good thing. If the movie's campy, I think it deserves it.
Like Hairspray.
Hairspray, 9 to
exactly.
5.
9 to 5.
Waitress.
I think
Transformers would be pretty sick.
that's Universal Studios.
I get the two confused.
I would love to see a Transformers in the same vein as Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, where just people in the robot suits are just being
every night.
maimed.
Yeah.
Man crushed by Bumblebee costume. Again.
Transform, and you just hear like, ah! It bent the wrong way that time.
We tried to make Transformers a musical, but we accidentally made Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh boy.
We accidentally.
I'm Sean.
Oh jeez.
Oh no, I'm Will.
Yeah.
And I'm Tyler. Let's get this. Let's get this started.
Let's get this started.
I'm gonna say the Black Eyed
What's,
Peas first version.
Oh no.
I think we're about 6 months out from not getting radio play again.
Yeah, it's gonna be on this season of Stranger Things.
They have to keep the show going. Like, oh man, these kids look way too old. It's probably like the early 2000s by this point now with how old they look. We got to bring it back.
Yeah, here's
Hawkins has been under the shadow for 30 years.
Here's the Stranger Things kids listening to "Glamorous" by Fergie. Party like a rock star.
You know, there's going to be a flash forward in the series finale, and it's going to be like, oh, we're in the early 2000s now, isn't it? Like, that's 20 years ago, and it still feels so retro. I just did that. Oh, Madam Web. That's right.
Mm.
It did a flash forward, but not a substantial flash forward.
No, but it did do. We're basing ourselves firmly in 2006 by just playing, what was it, Toxic over and over.
Yes. I think the movie was supposed to take place like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things in the movie, like the use of like payphones and stuff, that
That's right.
are but then somebody wanted Toxic to be played in the movie, and they were like, okay, well, it can't take place in 1999 now. It has to take place in the year Toxic came out, which is why there's a scene in that movie where they see Beyonce's billboard, and it's like new album from Beyonce, and it's like the year that Toxic came out, and it's clearly photoshopped into the movie, because like what did that billboard say in the first draft that was like, you know, visit the Twin Towers or something.
Madonna's new album or some shit.
It also makes
Kurt
sense why
Cobain
it's
live.
a movie about a NYC first responder. It's
I think it's finally on Netflix. If you haven't watched it yet, it's worth the spectacle.
It
I have
rules.
never
Is it?
seen such a. It is. It is the least exciting, suspenseful. It truly has nothing going for it apart from Dakota Johnson making the craziest choices in the world, and she's fantastic for it.
she's horrible. I
like-
hope she's arrested.
I'm on the opposite side. I think she's fantastic. I adore her. I can't wait to see what else she's in. I think she went in, saw that everything about it was just truly dog shit, and she was like, I'm gonna try and make this like a camp classic. And I think she does. She succeeds.
I don't like her out of principle.
That's fine.
I like that she ended Ellen.
I like that she ended Ellen.
Ended Ellen. And she starred in an incredible Suspiria remake, and she's amazing in Suspiria.
I need a certain level of respect for the character of Madame Web, a character that I'm very familiar with and like a lot. And so
Yeah.
I don't think that she brought that. And I think that it's like playing the bard and not doing it correctly. It's just it's upsetting for me as a real Madame Web head from the books. Not the comics.
I bet.
The books.
The books. The light novels.
I got reincarnated as Madame Web.
Or Web Connection
She made it
novels.
too goofy. I needed to see a more grounded Madame Web, who gets hit in the face with a firework and goes blind.
Steals several cars and defeats the villain twice the same way.
Yeah, the villain really was just a guy who only spoke in ADR, and then he gets killed by a Pepsi sign.
It's a truly bafflingly bad movie, and I'm happy it exists. But I hope Sony was like, we need to pump the brakes on this one.
I hope they make another one. Put it back in theaters like Morpheus. I like that there's a scene where they show the South American spider people who are wearing costumes that are kind of they look like Spider-Man. They have like red paint with like webs on them, which means that Spider-Man's costume is cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
They made Spider-Man a guy
Sony
wearing a
can't keep
headdress at a
making
music
these
festival.
stickers.
Oh, they can though.
I guess
They
they
can.
will.
Wait for the
will.
Aaron
Craven's
Taylor
coming
Johnson
out this
Craven.
fall. Yeah. First, his wife releases a stinker of an Amy Winehouse biopic out this weekend. Next, he's gonna be in Craven. It's gonna just be butt cheeks.
Isn't his wife like 50?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
well, that's the reason I don't
And I've
support
heard the
this.
Amy Winehouse biopic is highly disrespectful.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They call her
It's
Army.
financed by call her Army Warner because they couldn't get the rights to her name.
Jackie Jordan.
But it was financed. Apparently, it was financed by Amy Winehouse's father, and so he makes himself look to be like very cool and compassionate in the movie, when in actuality, it was not. It's just like none of it looks like it was made in good faith.
It's Amy Winehouse's dad, and like Batman shows up. He's
Yeah.
gets out of a Lamborghini. He flexes and lightning strikes, and everyone's like, "Whoa, who's that guy?"
He's the coolest. Whatever the British equivalent of Batman is.
It's Batman, but he's holding just a bat. Oh, what's all this then?
Oh. Oh God. I don't think we've even touched on a news story yet.
No. That's
We
okay.
have.
We don't have to.
We sure don't have to. We should talk about the ongoing trend of this year of adults apparently seeing advertisements for like children driven events and then going to them in some back ass alleyway and being surprised and disappointed and outraged when instead of like, ooh, it's a fun Willy Wonka experience, or, ooh, it's a Bluey meetup, it's just some guy in a $30 suit they got from Spirit Halloween last year.
Yeah, if that, it looks like a $12 suit.
Yeah, this guy was in a hoodie.
Do we have any Bluey adults in the chat? Is anybody here like actively watching Bluey as an adult?
Are you gonna spoil it?
No, I feel like Bluey adults would be like, look at the story and be like, how dare this motherfucker do this? You know?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, there's this crazy obsession with the show Bluey, and I guess this restaurant put out, hey, we're doing a Bluey event. Bring your kids. We're gonna do face paint. Come meet Bluey. There was just a guy in a $12 Bluey onesie, and kids were crying. Parents were upset. Bluey adults were probably upset.
He didn't even pull the hood down in front of his face. He just had a human face.
Yeah,
That's got to be upsetting.
It wasn't even like the Bluey Live costume where it still kind of looks like Bluey, but no, it's just some guy.
That's got to be the easiest costume.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now. How much can I get a Bluey costume for? $200.
Probably as an adult. If you look it up for an adult male, you're gonna get put on a watch list.
Oh no, they're very popular for adult males apparently.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
I watched a couple episodes of Bluey for the first time last weekend because my niece and nephew apparently adore it, or at least adore the songs that come from it.
Sure.
I get it. I get why people are so attached. I don't get the.
Bluey looks like if Minecraft Steve had a fursuit. What I can see looking at Bluey compared to other dog costumes is that he looks like he belongs in Minecraft. Bluey's a girl.
Yeah. It's the animation is charming. The voices are charming. Australian accents. I'd only heard them before on Animal Planet TV shows and Mad Max movies, so it's nice to hear it coming out of an animated voice. Animated little dog.
Nice to come out of something less terrifying.
Yeah. Just something that's not Mel Gibson. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the point of parenthood where if I'm still on Facebook, God forbid, scrolling past like, look, parents, it's an event and it's gonna be, I don't know what's gonna be popular in that time, but it's
Pogs
like, look,
are
we're
back.
hosting this event. Yeah, Pogs. We're hosting a Pog event for the Pogs cartoon show. Come and bring your children for this. I'm not gonna do that.
Bobby's World
Was made. Bobby's World, I would welcome back. I love Bobby's World. I know who's involved with Bobby's World. Don't tell me about. I know Howie Mandel did Bobby's World. Loved Bobby's World.
What's wrong with Howie Mandel?
Yeah.
What's wrong with Howie Mandel? Did he do something?
He's a weirdo. He
He did do that.
Yeah. Prolapse.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Sean, I think I actually am going to take the opposite approach. I want to bring my children to this Bluey event because this teaches them lessons like never meet your heroes.
There's an episode of Arthur where they talk about how Arthur's not allowed to pick the vacation spot anymore because he picked on a billboard that said, have a Sunday with Santa. And they show up and it's just a guy's house and he's in a Santa suit and he goes, did you bring my Sunday?
Amazing.
Incredible joke for a kid's show.
It's really Arthur's solid. I'm okay.
Great.
I think yeah. Excited to rewatch Arthur with a kid, but I just
Jekyll, hide, Jekyll.
Yeah, solid. Yeah. It's the only kids cartoon to have Philip Seymour Hoffman and Matt Damon guest star.
Fanboy and Chum Chum had them.
Did they really?
No.
I thought Philip Seymour Hoffman was on Mr. Meaty, not Fanboy and Chum Chum.
Yes.
They had the whole puppet and everything.
It was very upsetting looking.
Speaking of Mr. Meaty, did you all enjoy any content this week? the most enjoyable thing I can think of.
No.
Are you asking us if we specifically enjoyed what? Mr. Meaty?
Oh, just anything. I'm looking
Oh.
for. I was make a little segue. I'm like,
Oh, a little segue. Oh, sorry we didn't pick that up, Sean. I'm playing a
Either
beta.
to
of-
Nickelodeon for Mr. Meaty season 2.
Oh, it got a season 2.
in my heart. I'm playing a beta of a new game that came out, Hades 2, or that's coming out, I should say. Really, really, really fun game. I'm really enjoying it. It doesn't follow the original guide. It follows his sister Melanoy, who was a secret sister of his. Kronos comes and takes over the underworld, so you got to go to the underworld. Also, Zeus is doing some shit in Olympus, so you got to go to Olympus too. It's got a lot of new weapons. God, it brought me back to the pandemic when we were all playing Hades, and it's just like that time sink of just like, all right, I'm gonna do one more run. All right, I'm gonna do one more run. All right, I'm gonna do one more run. Okay, I got these guns. Let me try this now. It really scratches that itch, and it adds a lot of new stuff to the formula, which is what I was worried about. Was it was just going to be a reskin of Hades 1 with the new gal, and that's it. And that's definitely not the case. The story's awesome. It's got a lot of really hot-looking, gods and goddesses, which apparently is a problem, according to Twitter. But
They're not. They don't look like anime characters. They look like people, and that's what happens when you have artists make games and not fans. Is they end up looking like people. They should look like anime characters.
So that apparently makes me a bad person for thinking that Aphrodite's hot, but that's just me. So it's a fun game. I think it's $30 on Steam, which it probably will not be that when it officially comes out. So why not grab it early? It is. There are some it's rough around the edges in some parts. Some characters are like, ooh, this is probably not the final product of this character. But other than that, I've been really enjoying it.
Has it got a official release date yet?
I don't know. I don't know, and it's just on PC right now. I can imagine it'll be on all the consoles when it does come out. But
I probably won't play it early, but I will pick up Hades 1 again and get some practice in before 2 comes out, because I like Hades 1 a lot.
Yeah, Hades 1's great.
I remember really enjoying Hades. I remember watching it on a stream we did once. Will, you were playing it, and I didn't understand a goddamn thing that was happening. It was truly, but once you get into the
we were pretty far into it.
Once I started playing it, I really enjoyed it. Tyler's right; it absolutely is a time sink, because you're just like, let's try it again, one more run. And when you finally make it through a room you haven't made before, it's an incredible feeling.
It's a time sink, but also it's like, I got 15 minutes. I can make a little run right now. I can see how far I can get in Hades 2.
I like games that you can play in like a 11-minute chunk.
Yeah. Man, I remember back in the day when I was playing Super Mario Odyssey, I could get like a challenge or like half a level done before leaving for work in the morning, and it felt great.
That's a good one. I've been watching Adventure Time, which is not a game, but episodes are 11 minutes long, and so you can slot in 1 or 2 now and then and just knock out. I'm almost finished season 4.
Nice. I feel like season 5 or season 6 is when they start like really going lore heavy, but it's really good.
It's getting pretty heavy now. 4 gets really avant-garde and weird. Like, a lot of the episodes in a row have just been like nonsense experiment episodes. And I'm thinking that after this, it gets a little more story focused. Because 4 has the one where Bobcat Goldthwait plays a spider who's getting a divorce. And that's the whole episode. And I watched it drunk and was like, what the hell is this? And then I watched it the next day and I was like, okay, that was not this
is not a fever dream of some sort.
No, this actually happened and it was weird.
That's fantastic. Have you hit the one of my favorite like guest episodes is the one where it's like Jake and Finn and Jake go through like the life cycle museum?
Not yet. I don't think.
That might be coming up. It's directed by Masaki Uasa.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Science Saru.
yeah, you'll know it when you see it. It's, I think, one of my all-time favorite episodes. Great
I know.
show.
I know he did one. I have not seen his yet.
I think you'll really enjoy it. I think, you know, if I have kids, they're not going to be growing up on Bluey immediately. It'll just be adventure time for bright colors and something that's fun for parents.
Hey, Adventure Time's great.
Yeah.
You learn a lot about swords and stuff.
Yeah.
What more could you ask for?
Perseverance, good character traits.
Speaking of swords, I'm reading a fantasy book right now.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm reading the Way of Kings by this. Whenever I think of his name, I think of that the Whitest Kids You Know sketch with Andy Samberg, Sandy Amberg, Brad Bangberg. It's Brandon Sanderson. Yeah, it's a giant book. I'm like a third of the way through it, but I can confidently say at this point, I'm really digging what he's putting down. I like him where it's going. He does the Game of Thrones thing of having like 5 different protagonists to kind of hops between for the different chapters. And that's fun because they're all in this different world called Roshar is the planet, and you hop from country to country, and he doesn't explain shit. You just got, much like Dune, you just gotta pick up on what's going on from the context. And a lot of times he's said that like most of the stuff is just kind of Star Wars fluff. Like you don't really have to pay attention to it. It's for his. It just kind of sets the thing, and things that are actually important he will explain. But he's really good at world building. Like in the world that he's made, there's constant hurricanes that go from east to west, and something you would notice, not necessarily, is that all of the countries on the eastern side are described like Mars. They just have like broken, cracked rock for Earth because of the hurricanes, and the ones on the western side don't because the hurricane has split up by then and it's just rain. And the animals and flora and fauna on the eastern side, an easy thing to miss is that they are all giant crustaceans because what would evolve to survive constant hurricanes but a giant shell monster. And the west has more like cows and chickens and stuff. But yeah, he's really good. He's got a cool power system. There's like magic swords you can summon with your heart, and there's suits of armor that are basically just mechs, and giant fights between those where people get their armor split open and it shoots sunlight out of it, and he's got a pretty cool system. And then, like the main character is just kind of a cool default Skyrim character guy who goes from like a slave to he's the protagonist, so you assume he gets better for him, and things are starting to get better for him now. He's really kind of a bottom up guy, but it's great if you like fantasy. I recommend it. I like it because Game of Thrones, no shade, isn't much fantasy. It's mostly political. This is political, but it's mostly fantasy. If you like the fantasy spells and wizards and magic and monsters and stuff, it's a little more like that. But it is very political because it's called The Way of King. It's about a country and stuff like that. But it's good. Check it out. The rumors are true.
Brandon Sanderson can write well. Yeah, that's that I feel like, as a Song of Ice and Fire fan, Way of Kings is inevitable for my future.
I'll say they're very different.
It sounds like it.
Yeah,
especially with the fighting style. The world sounds, the Song of Ice and Fire. The world of that is it's very European kind of. It's very familiar.
It's very grounded.
Yeah. But I'm still I haven't really dipped into fantasy much, save for that, and that's still, like you said, pretty loosely fantasy. So I'm interested.
I like it. He's I think the 4th book comes out this year, and
I thought it was like 12 books deep. Okay, that's nice.
Oh, it's only 3 right now. So he's written He's written a bunch of books in the shared universe, but the Stormlight Archives, I think, is on four or five right now, and five comes out
Oh.
this year. I think he said it's gonna be 10 total, and I fully believe he's gonna do it. He also wrote Mistborn, which I think is complete, which was like 6 books, which
Okay.
is same universe but different, hundreds of years later or before. I don't know.
Interesting.
I haven't read Mistborn. I heard Mistborn's good. Sean froze just like that. Oh, there, he's
Cool.
dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all froze for me for a second, so I just want to hold on.
Unless you're just like pondering really hard, just like interesting.
Cool. Yeah. I'll have to look it up. I'm in the middle of like 3 different books right now, similar to how I read books like I play video games. It's like I'll start them and then I won't finish them, which is not great.
There's some books you can do that with though. Bible.
Yeah. I started Blood Meridian and I was going to sleep after reading Blood Meridian for a while. And I was like, I can't do this.
Having terrible night terrors.
It's like it's like I've never read more beautiful prose in my life, but God alive, is it describing the worst shit imaginable? I have to I have to sleep. Well, so speaking of kings and kingdoms and
Okay.
fantasy, have y'all been keeping up at all with the recent Planet of the Apes franchises?
No.
Franchise?
Yes and no. I actually just like watched all the movies up until this current one recently,
Okay.
and I gotta say, I don't think I'm gonna see the new one. I'm just not loving. And I saw your review on Letterboxd of this upcoming movie, so I'm interested to hear what you think. And it's kind of swayed me towards maybe not seeing it until it comes out on streaming. But
Yeah, I'm using Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes to persuade you to see at least the first 3. Rise is it's a fun movie, great effects, kind of goofy, but
Malfoy's in
gives,
it.
like, yeah, it gives like the prequel energy you want of that kind of thing. But Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes are 2 of the better action movies I've seen in the past decade. Like War is like each movie ends and you're like, this is so much better than it should be. Like, this is a movie about the Planet of the Apes. Why is it this good? They are extremely affecting. They're beautifully acted. Obviously, the visual effects are like next level. Even like watching War from like almost a decade ago, you're like, oh, this looks like it was made like released this year. Like the effects are just like that high end. Like just super fun movies. Like it's difficult to get people because like if you're already like, I'm not interested in those movies, it's hard to get you into them. But like just like throw Rise on, and like, oh, interesting, and just continue on to Dawn, and it'll start clicking. And then once
FX
War
is running
comes along,
marathons.
yeah, they're on Hulu, they're on Disney Plus. It like War for the Planet of the Apes is truly, it's so good. It's fascinating. The character work is great.
The songs
Andy Serkis puts on the songs.
I hate every ape I see. From chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
Yeah, Dr. Zayas, unfortunately, is not it. But they do have several orangutans that they fucking whip. Moving on to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which was released this year. It's worth renting. It's worth streaming. I wouldn't say it's worth going to the theaters. It's very long. It feels long. And it doesn't quite have the juice of the previous 2 movies, of the Matt Reeves Planet of the Apes movies. It's a new director. I don't know his name. But it's cool, and it presents some neat concepts. But it's just kind of like, the villain ape ends up being right at the end.
That happens a
just
lot
like, oh.
recently.
It's just like the villain ape is like, you shall not trust humans, and then the human
This is Koba.
goes on to do something untrustworthy. Unfortunately, it's not Koba.
Oh. Koba
No,
doesn't
this
come
one
back?
is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is set, I want to say, at least 100 years.
I
after
don't know
the
how these
events
apes
of the war.
age.
That's fine. None of the apes that you see in the previous 3 are in this.
No Caesar.
No.
No Caesar. Well, yeah, no Caesar. But you hear of Caesar. There's like a kind of like Caesar religious following, which is really cool. They speak of Caesar as we do, like, Jesus Christ.
Hillary Clinton.
It's a really neat concept that they explore. And you just kind of see how like society is ape society is progressing. You see like the different tribes and where they live and how they like go about their lives. Like the main character, whose name I've forgotten, he's part of like a falconry tribe or eagles. Like they live in like tall nests that they've built out of wood, and they all just like they train these eagles to fly, complete tasks. They explore. They're great climbers, and they have to migrate, and you meet another tribe of the kingdom of I forgot his name, but they're more
they left lasting impressions.
Exactly. Well, it's been like 2 weeks since I've seen it, but they do a lot of like interesting world building in this one. But it's like after it ends, you're like, okay, cool. We've reached the end of that story. Let's see another story, because I don't want to follow this character necessarily into the future, into the next movie. I would rather see what I want to pitch to 20th Century Studios, an all orangutan society. Because if you see any of those movies, the Rangos are the best ones. So I think we need an all Rango Planet of the Apes, where it's like a super intelligent, super chill society of apes, of orangutans, and I think it'll be great. Because
Planet of the Apes, oops, all Rangos.
Yeah, oops, all Rangos. It was, Kingdom is a fun time. It's a nice time at the movies. My brother-in-law fell asleep during it. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be on Hulu or Disney Plus by the end of the year. If you've caught up with the rest of them, which I highly encourage you to, Kingdom is still worth the watch, but it's a bit of a, I don't want to give a badish to it, but it's a bit of like you just get so high on War of the Planet of the Apes, and then you watch Kingdom, and you're like, oh, okay. Anyways,
more people should classify a review with who in their party fell asleep during the movie.
Yeah,
I wish that's how they did movie reviews. Like you got like a kid and an old person and like a Gen Xer, and then you just at the end of the movie described how like into it everyone was. Like, oh yeah, the Gen Xer like leaned forward several times, whereas the old person kept asking who was who.
It's like, who's this one for? Yeah, fine movie. A lot of good stuff coming out though very soon. Furiosa comes out days after you listen to this.
I'm excited. I'll probably see that.
Tyler's less convinced.
I'm gonna see it. I like the Mad Max. I gave Mad Max 4 stars.
Okay.
So, I'd watch it if it was called Furiosa.
I'm also excited for. What?
It's not Furiosa. Don't go and think it's called Furiosa.
Furiosa.
Disappointed.
I'm keeping an open mind about Twisters. Although the latest preview made me a little worried that this is going to be 2 tornadoes fusing and catching on fire, and it's got lasers, and turning into just too much of a. Because what's great about the first one is a big ass tornado is all you need. That's scary enough.
Yeah.
The first
one is called Twisters, and
it's 2, at least.
Promising. Yeah, there's 2. Yeah.
The first Twister is such a weird. It's a snobs versus slobs movie about storm chasers. It's like Caddyshack with a tornado. You think it's like a drama about this tornado, but it's like the young storm chasers versus the pros.
Right.
Yeah. They also introduced the divorce subplot, which I watched it for the first time last year. I was
Really?
like, this is like, yeah, believe it or not. The effects are sick. Like for the late 90s, I was like, oh, this looks fantastic. And then there's just like the first 45 minutes or so is just like human drama. I was like, I don't really care.
Show
And
us
then
the
it's like,
tornado.
obviously, it's like we obviously know Heather Graham and Bill Paxton are going to get together, maybe. But it's like, I'm just trying to serve you these papers. It's like, come chase this twister with me. And like, all right, it's fun on paper, but like watching it, I know Colby's listening to this and fuming. I'm sorry, Colby.
It's his favorite movie of all time.
It is. But Twisters, I don't know if y'all have seen Glenn Powell in much stuff recently. That man's got the juice.
He's great.
I'm very excited to see him and star of Normal People, Daisy Edgar Jones. She's also got the juice, but for a very different thing.
And she's Ray Star Wars too.
No, that's Daisy Ridley. Another Daisy. Another English Daisy.
Ridley Edgar Jones.
Yeah, Ridley Edgar Jones, the star of Alien.
Do you think that so Furiosa started backpedal. Anya Taylor-Joy is in this movie as Furiosa. When Charlize Theron was Furiosa, she had to shave her head. When Anya Taylor-Joy got to the set, she was like, "Should I shave my head?" And George Miller was like, "Don't shave off your beautiful hair." For Charlize Theron, he was like, "Yeah, cut it all off. Who gives a shit?"
Get it all. Yeah.
How do you think she's feeling right now?
Not great, probably.
Yeah, she's probably not feeling great about not being casted. I mean, it's like she wasn't that old in the first one, so it's like, at what point does Anya? I know, but she wasn't old. I know, but she wasn't old in Fury Road. So it's like young her
could just be her with longer hair.
Exactly.
It's like like Florence Pugh played like a 9-year-old in Little Women for some reason.
Yeah, that did happen.
Anya Taylor-Joy also played a baby in Dune.
She did. That is true. That's gonna be on Max soon. That'll be a fun rewatch.
I have to see it still.
Is that true?
I haven't seen it. I was busy.
Yeah, I haven't seen Dune 2 either.
Oh man.
I was busy doing to others as I have done to me.
That's nice. I'm glad it did come out during Lent. I'm proud of you, Will. That's
I jumped the guy's car today. I was at Kroger and this guy was like, "Hey, would you jump my car?" And I said, "Yeah." And I ran over and I got a running start and went right over it. And I said, $10, please.
Waka waka.
I was impressed.
Oh,
it was a Hummer. Don't see many of those anymore.
Thought there's gonna be a follow-up to Hummer, but I don't know what that would have been.
Hummer? I hardly know her.
All right. Well, we haven't too much time, but since we're on the topic of movies, the Cannes Film Festival is going on, so I want to do a Cannes Watch segment and talk about all of my favorite Cannes entries. Yeah. Well, first one, the one that's getting the most praise so far, SpaghettiOs. That's people are going crazy. Secondly, just a real you can always trust these guys. Eagle brand condensed milk.
I think I got a 7-minute standing ovation.
Yeah, it did.
And several boos.
Several
boos. The lactose intolerant crowd.
And from Asia, Asia always hits. You got the coconut milk, from Thai Kitchen. It's that's gonna be great. And
I thought it was Thai.
Thai.
Thai Kitchen.
Thai.
TH. Tell us would you say that?
Thai Kitchen is a very different podcast that we cannot be a part of. And from the British Isles, you got the very young small sweet peas. Speaking of Anya Taylor-Joy playing a baby.
Gross.
Yeah, that's
yuck.
They're still.
Yeah, I don't support this one.
Speaking of, all right, there's still one more weekend of Cannes going on in France. So next time you can tune back in for Cannes Watch once we know what wins the Palme d'Or. That's Cannes Watch this week.
We should watch some movies and drink as many beers as we can and call it the Cannes Film Festival.
They're all in foreign languages and impenetrable. My favorite. Speaking of things that are impenetrable, Worm got into Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s brain. And that's probably why he's running for president.
I'm not here to make fun of anyone who has a brain parasite. I'm here to make fun of anyone who tells a story about having a worm eat their brain and then say, and that's why you should vote for me for president.
I'm going to select Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers as my vice president. I don't know anything about his policies. I know he fucking disgraced his great uncle with his Super Bowl ad that was bad shit. Whatever he's got going on, not crazy about it.
He might win.
He might win.
He could be your boss one day.
He could be my boss one day.
Yeah, that's how the president works. You report up to them.
You just call the president big boss, like, oh, it's like I've got my boss at work, but the real boss, President
JC.
Joe Biden.
Oh, I have two bosses.
JB and JC.
You're not my boss or my father, or you're not God or my father or my boss. Remember that guy? The short guy at the bagel place?
Guy? Yeah. Didn't he
the
die?
deli?
Did he?
There? At the deli?
No, I heard news that he died.
Oh, well, rest in peace. You made a funny video.
He did. Screaming over a counter he was too short to see over.
Yes, he is passed away.
Wow. Damn. Of what?
Oh, someone said
he got tased outside of Oshkosh Bagosh.
there's a lot of debate on our short guys of whether he's dead or not.
Whether or not he's actually dead? It's a conspiracy.
Yeah, because people are saying he is, and people are, all right, what's the proof?
Yeah, show me the obituary.
he had to. I can't even think of the name of it. Fuck.
I'm gonna be deep into this tonight then, because I have no idea if this man's alive or not.
I feel like I saw on Twitter this, just like this short guy died.
He had a stroke.
Yeah. Oh.
But we don't know. We don't know for sure. He's Schrodinger's bagel boss.
Well, I look forward to an update the next episode of whether Tiny.
I'm gonna forget tonight.
Yes.
Don't worry.
The minute we stop recording, it goes out the brain. And I think the only person who ever remembers the episodes is whoever's editing that week. And when that ends, immediately gone.
Yeah, I don't have object
when I
permanence
sit
or
down to
bagel
write
boss.
the description. Yeah, completely. When I sit down to write the description, I just listen to the whole episode again. And I'm just like, I don't know. We talked about Six Flags, I think.
The episode description for the last episode was just the Courage the Cowardly Dog theme song, but I replaced Courage the Cowardly Dog with the Radish Boys. That's just it. You couldn't even know what happened in the episode. It's just Courage the Cowardly Dog. Abandoned as puppies, they were found by
Get
Muriel.
back to watching.
Well, I don't know where my
boys. You made me look bad. Radish Boys. Ah! Okay. Bring us home, Sean.
I think my camera got unplugged.
Camera's not even working.
Yeah. I think I hit my desk. I'm trying.
Will's getting hacked. He was on our short men, and they knew he was 6'2", and he's getting hacked.
They're doing a hack. My camera's not even on the list of cameras. Like, where is it? Okay, I'm just gonna go. Whatever.
Anyway,
it's the end of the show.
A man who cannot. That's it, folks. Thanks for listening to Radish. I've been Sean. You can find me on Letterboxd at Sean M. Berry, and Sean from Radish everywhere else.
I'm Will. Was Was that it? You can find
You can't
me.
prove that though.
I'm allegedly Will.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, we're back.
No, there you are.
As my
There
USB
he is.
my USB hub came unplugged. I'm Will. I'm
Wow.
and it's now it's frozen. We're working on it. We're a work in progress here.
That's what they do, man. They get behind your computer. They can unplug the cords next to the wall because they can fit under the desk.
They don't even have to bend over. I'm they just run completely under the desk, standing up. My name is Tyler. You can find me this week watching the Survivor finale on Wednesday.
Oh, that's right.
It was actually a pretty good season. I think Sean would agree. It was actually full of drama towards the end, which we can all enjoy. So, and you can find me on Letterboxd. Hey Tyler, I just watched the Book of Clarence. It was all right. It was a stoner biblical satire, a genre that didn't need to exist, but now it does.
I'm glad it does.
It's on
That,
Netflix.
and I guess maybe Life of Brian.
Yeah, is
Year
that
one.
Stoner though, Life of Brian. Year
I would
one.
think so.
Oh yeah,
Year
yeah.
Well, was that
Totally.
Okay.
biblical?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, they
Oh,
meet
yeah, yeah,
They meet
yeah.
Abraham.
that's right. That's right. Abraham. Yeah. Oh, it's a bigger subgenre than I thought it was.
saw that in
but
theaters.
this is certainly an entry in it. Lakeith Stanfield's great.
Adore that man. Well, that'll be it for us.